Hey, what's up? You are tuned in and back at the Bougie AF channel with your host, Suge Avery. I just got to the place in life I was just like, I don't know. I'm just bougie. Now let's get into the show.
Hey, what's up, y'all? You are tuned into the Bougie AF channel with your host, Suge Avery. Okay, so I wanted to do this video about Dr. Dre. Now, I told y'all in previous videos that I'm so much a feminist, and it's trending topic, so it's online to what I like to talk about. So let's get to it. So there was an article. There's an article that I'm gonna read to you, but let me give you some backstory on how I feel about Dr. Dre. To me, 2020 has been the year of like just people being exposed. Like you're just finding the most out about people who, like strangers or even like people in the business, just have so much admiration and so much respect for, that we're just finding out so much now that they're just not who we thought they were. They're not who y'all thought they were. Me, I think people are people. Do you get what I'm saying? So I really just don't kind of put anything past people. And I feel like because this is something I want to pursue with being in media, I get that people put out images. And with people putting out images, a lot of times, if they come to you prepackaged a certain way, all polished and whatnot, there's usually something else. There's something else completely behind it. Behind the curtain that is completely different, right? Because they don't leave any room for like realness. They don't leave any room for just like, okay, I've had a moment like that. They just are just prepackaged this way, ta da da da. Believe this. I just want you to see this, and they don't deviate from what they want you to see. So for me, I just majority of the shit is all smoke and mirrors to me. That's just me personally. Like that's why I was never caught off guard by the Ellen DeGeneres situation. Never caught off. I'm not caught off by Steve Harvey. And I think people really were caught off by Ellen DeGeneres. So she goes out her way on her show to be like overly top. She's dancing. She's up on the latest like dance moves, urban community. She's crip walking. Ellen is one of the people. And just to come to find out that she would barely say hi to you if it's not on camera, if it's not a situation, that there are really people like that. Like if it's not a part of a situation, have anything to like benefit them in sort of way, they don't feel like there's any reason to have this relationship. And each his own. I think it depending on the space that you meet somebody in, that matters. You get what I'm saying? I can't say like if I meet you in a business situation and it's you're definitely an associate, stuff like that. Yeah, that relationship makes sense to me for what I'm trying to do. Of course, that yeah, of course. Now, if it's a situation I meet you and it started off in a situation where I meet you in a business terms and we develop a relationship and you come to my house, I come to your house, like it's deeper, then no, that it's not okay to treat someone as if though they can just they're disposable. Do you get what I'm saying? Because they played a part. They're a part of your life. And people aren't disposable. So I think there's two different types of people and what that relationship is and what it means to somebody. You get what I'm saying? So I hope so. Anyway, back to Dr. Dre and the fact that I just was not. I just was not. I just was not. I'm not surprised by any of this. I'm not surprised, y'all. Some people are surprised by Dr. Dre, but like me, I'm someone who like I really go back and look into things. So for me, Dr. Dre, I knew the story of Dee Barnes, and let's look that up real quick. I'm doing this because to kill time, but just to make sure I'm as close as possible to what I remember. 1 second, Dee Barnes. Here we go. So we are pulling it up. Let me see. I'm trying to find the article on Dee Barnes where she talks about him slapping her. Okay, here we go.
No, well, things aren't really that bad. It's actually 1991, 3 years after Straight Outta Compton drop, making NWA and Dr. Dre complete superstars. Anyway, meet Andre, 24 years old, wildly successful, but still fed up with life and the way things are going, because some lady let his op diss him and his crew on her TV show. And so after running into her in a nightclub, he decides to truly put the beats into Beats by Dre. But on the way in, he has a sudden change of heart, and his conscience comes into play. All right, go into the rave, spray, beat that chick in the face like...
Okay, so what we won't do is watch video that is kind of making fun and light of the situation, so I'm going to edit that out. So don't even worry about that. Don't even worry about that. Hey, what's up? You are tuned in and you're back at the Bougie AF channel. I'm inside today making a video. I usually like making car videos or just like more of a production type of scene type of thing, but we're home today, so we're gonna make a video. All right, so I wanted to talk about trash ass Dr. Dre. Yeah, Dre from NWA, legendary producer, you know, legendary toxic ass fuckboy. That's how I see him as. So Dr. Dre is currently in the news because him and his current wife Nicole Young is going through a divorce, and part of this divorce is anybody who's been, you know, following hip hop. Everybody knows that Dr. Dre is worth almost $1 billion, right? So when you're talking about a divorce at this point, we're talking about this would be like Jay-Z and Beyonce divorcing and having to split funds. This is like Kim and Kanye having a divorce to split funds. This is Will and Jada having a divorce to split funds. Like, this is really, really up there, okay? So when you start talking about this type of money and people not wanting to give you, or you have a man like him with a whole bunch of toxic ass ways and mindsets, he does not want to come up off this money, okay? So they are going through this divorce, and I guess at one point in time there was a prenup, and she thought that he had tore up the prenup because I guess for some reason she was under the impression maybe he did tear it up in front of her, but I guess allegedly he has, not allegedly, but he's come out and says no, their prenup is still standing. It's here. You want a copy? You get what I'm saying? So just to let you know how toxic and trash ass he is, because he probably even used this prenup as an apology, ripping up the prenup as an apology. You get what I'm saying? So it just, niggas, the mind. See where the mind be at? I'm gonna show her how much I love her, so I'm gonna trick her and making her think that I've tore up the prenup. So, but if we work out and we spend together, we stay together for life, it won't matter, right? But if we get a divorce, see, I did the right thing. I was smart. Niggas ain't shit. Like, for real, niggas ain't shit. Anyway, so Nicole Young, his wife, they're divorcing. Irreconcilable differences, all that stuff. But the interesting thing about this divorce and this couple, and the reason why I wanted to talk about you, Dr. Dre's trash ass, toxic ass, domestic violence ass ways has been something that's always been talked about. It's always been rumored about. It's always been something that we've known about, right? I mean, to the point where we've had the women that it's not even alleged or rumors or this person told. No, the actual people that this man has put his hands on have came forward and told their story. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think for us, it really started, I think the first person we were made aware of publicly was Dee Barnes, and that was early in his career. And it's important we talk about it because he did this to a couple women early in his career and was still able to go on to become the billionaire that he is today, right? So we have to look at that, like, why was that allowed? Why was that okay? Why were people, and we see that in today with the Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion, that history is repeatedly repeating ourselves. And are we really getting better? Are we really addressing it to the extent that we should be addressing it? You know what I mean? So that's what we're going to take a look at. Just to talk about, and just so you guys can just see that it has been going on forever, women not being protected. And, you know, this isn't nothing new. This isn't a new conversation. But I think in a hip-hop community, I think we have to talk about it, and that's what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes people like to play dumb because they want to act like they're not part of the problem, but not knowing that, yeah, you are part of the problem. Anytime that you say that, you know, it's okay to build down or tear down a woman to build up a man, and the man is trash, and it's a problem. We have to discuss it. You know what I'm saying? So let's go back to Dee Barnes. And my heart really goes out to her because it wasn't even like this woman was in a relationship with him. She has never, you know, she wasn't in a relationship with this man. This was another woman in the business. And because of her opinions about him, or maybe his music, he attacked her, and this was okay. You get what I'm saying? And I know a lot of times people like to say, oh, well, that's their relationship and that's what they go through. But this is pure just ignorance of, I don't like what you said, so I'm going to inflict violence on you. And this was okay because he was still allowed to go on. All right. Now, and just to remind you, because I know niggas like to get real cute out there and get real, like, be sewing shit together. Just because I talk about certain content, I have certain opinions, doesn't mean I've experienced it. I may have seen it. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those people, like, seeing things and paying attention to history. So a lot of things to me, I'd be like, ooh, interest me, right? So I'm a woman at the end of the day. But I mean, I've been through my shit too. But domestic violence is not something I've ever been through. A man being in a relationship with someone and it's just like toxic and disgusting, and he was a sexual partner of mine. No, I've never been through anything like that. I'm one of those people that's always, um, look, you either get how you treat me and you get it early, or you don't get me. You get what I'm saying? And I've always been that way from a little girl. Like, you don't get me. So, yeah, even to right now, as this grown ass woman, you either get it or you don't. You get what I'm saying? And the get it is the way you want to be treated is how I want to be treated. So you either get that you better treat me how you want to be treated, or you don't get me. You know what I mean? So I've never experienced that way. So I know there'll be a lot of assumptions being made. All right, so here we go. Let me go to our article. Not that one. Just close that. I'm so clumsy with this, y'all. Oh my god, I'm just so awful. Oh, where is the article? I just had it. It's on the root. See, there's another window. There's another window. Hold on. Alright, yeah, that's the one I want. But I don't want to show y'all what's on that screen. So bear with me, we're getting there. This is not gonna be like a quick second, live. We talking, we kicking it. Okay, so I guess I closed it, but I was looking. Oh, okay. The Grapevine, the Root. Check them out. I really like that. I haven't seen any videos from them lately, but I like the Grapevine, and I also am a fan of the Root. So, pioneer hip hop journalist Dee Barnes, and that's what's really important. I want you guys to pay attention to her story. Like, she was just a woman in trying to do her thing, and just because of a man, like, it really got cut short. So, pioneer hip hop journalist Dee Barnes, now homeless, gets a hand up from Wendy Williams. Life has admittedly not been easy for hip hop media pioneer Dee Barnes, but perhaps things will start to get a little brighter with the help of talk show host Wendy Williams. Barnes appeared Thursday on Wendy the Wendy Williams show, where the talk show host offered to publish the book Barnes has and works on Williams Hunter publishing imprint. Williams also says she would produce a movie based on the book. I would like to publish a book. I remember watching this actually when it came on, so real time I seen this. Williams told visibly thrilled Barnes and handing Barnes numbers to call after the show. I would also like to produce the movie of the book. And let me tell you something. If you and people like to talk their trash about Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams is a goddess, and you can disagree with her opinions. You can disagree with her talking about celebrity gossip while you go to TMZ and pay homage to Harvey Levy, whatever in your hater ass mind that you think that you have a problem with Wendy. You can say what you want. She's so accomplished. She's such like a trailblazer. She's actually taken women out of the dark ages of what radio used to be to what it is now. And even in media today, like, she came into TV media after having an illustrious, like a great career in radio and making her stamp. She came into TV and changed how TV was looked at, if you think about it, because there was no one before Wendy Williams, and the way she's giving it up and how she gives it up when it comes to celebrity gossip and as a personality, there's no one like her. The way Oprah was doing it, Oprah was everybody's friend. You get what I'm saying? She wasn't necessarily giving you tea, or she wasn't salaciously talking about something. She wasn't a legend about people's life or what you hear in the gossip mill. Oprah wasn't really doing that. If Oprah covered a story, it was because it was the Associated Press was talking about it. It was a journalistic deep dive. It was an uncovering. It was just on a whole nother different level. Wendy put that shit down and was like, I'm giving it to you the way it is in the street, and I'm telling you what's going on with people and what's going on. So, say what you want about Wendy Williams. So I say all of that to say Wendy Williams has a problem, does not like Dr. Dre. And for her, this story, if you listen to her, she's brought up this story before because it hits home, because as a woman in the business, and Wendy understood, because she started off being salacious and people not liking what she's saying. She started off with people wanting to put them hands on her, or total being downstairs when she gets off of work, or as we know now, Whitney Houston and her girlfriend was allegedly downstairs trying to fight her. Like, it goes down when people don't like your opinion, more so with women, but we've seen it also with men. So I think Wendy, for her, is a soft spot because this could have been her. You know what I mean? Because she was reckless. She was saying a lot of stuff back then. Wendy in the 90s was no joke. I still go back and listen to that like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It was like shock and awe. It's shock and awe, like, to your ears, because you're not seeing anything. She's on radio. It's like shock and awe to your ears when you hear. I mean, we could go there one day. But listen, so she said, I would like to publish a book. Williams told her, visibly thrilled Barnes and handing Barnes numbers to call after the show. I would also like to produce the movie of the book. Barnes hosted the influential hip-hop show Pump It Up during the 90s and was brutally beaten by Dr. Dre after he took offense about a segment that aired on her show. On Thursday, Barnes revealed that she and her younger daughter were now homeless, staying with friends at a short-term Airbnb rentals, and that times had been tough. Things became so bad that Barnes started a GoFund last week in hopes of raising $5,000 to start off an eviction notice. Wow. I had several jobs but couldn't keep the rent up, Barnes told Williams. Stuff on the side, freelancing, that wasn't coming through. She told Williams that while the GoFund surpassed its goal, raising some $30,000, she and her younger daughter still end up without a home of her own. Wow. I'm always confused. I mean, granted, maybe you lost that apartment, but how do you not immediately turn around and be able to get into something? And I don't, like I said, this is not a shame. I throw shade, but I'm always a little, because I hear about that, people raising up all this money and they still seem to be like, I still can't. You know what I mean? So that's a little weird to me, but whatever. 30,000. She and her younger daughter still ended up without a home or of their own. Barnes said that after being viciously assaulted by Dr. Dre years ago at an industry party, she was persona non grata in the hip hop industry. She helped shine a light on with Pump It Up and found it difficult to find work. Wow. He picked me up and lifted me off the ground. This is her describing what happened between Dre and her at the club. Wow, this is disgusting. He picked me up and lifted me off the ground by my hair. Slammed me up against a brick wall several times. Boom, boom, boom. Barnes in a retelling of Dre's actions, punctuating her words by slamming her fist into her hand. Wow. So basically, she's telling the story. She's like, he picked me up, lifted me off the ground by my hair, slammed me up against a brick wall several times. Boom, boom, boom. Barnes, in a retelling of Dre's actions, punctuating her words by slamming her fist into her hand. Wow. I remember being on the ground, disoriented. I'm in shock, Barnes told Williams. I'm dizzy, so I grabbed a nearby stair rail. I pulled myself up and run into the women's room. Dre, follows me into the women's room. Wow. Barnes paused, and Williams prompted her, now visibly shaking guests, to continue. And then what happened, Williams asked. Tell your story. Barnes, her lips trembled, shared. He continued to assault me in the women's restroom. Beating you up, Williams asked. Barnes, her eyes down. Wow. Wow. Wendy ended up asking her, were you sexually assaulted? And she said, I'm not comfortable talking about everything right now, said Barnes. And then Williams says, your silence is speaking volumes, Williams responded. Wow. Barnes pressed charges against Dr. Dre following the assault. He received probation commuter service. Years later, 2015, he issued a general apology to the women I've hurt around the time his NWA group's biopic Straight Outta Compton hits theaters. Let me be extremely clear with you. I remember when this came out, and I remember in 2015 when the movie came out, because again, it went from Dee Barnes, that he was actually also in marriage, or it may even been a baby mama situation, I'm really not sure. But the singer Michelet from the 90s, great singer, but he was in a domestic violence relationship with her, and at the time when this is all going on, we didn't know at the time about Michelet. Of course, people in California, people probably who was close to the scene knew, but he had broken his wife's nose. I mean, his baby mother's nose. Broke her nose. I mean, to the point she was so damaged and mentally damaged that she thought this was love. That you later on found out from interviews and when she talked about her perspective when it comes to love, she actually really thought that abuse was love. And now we see that in Tahiri, and we've also seen women like, what's that girl name? Uh, from Basketball Wives. Y'all know who I'm talking about, the light skinned one, Drea. Where some women do associate toxic relationships or being abused with love, like to the point where I think Michelle A thought that if a man didn't beat you, he didn't love you. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, Dr. Dre is a monster, most definitely. So Dee Barnes, I wanted you guys to really hear, like, okay, we're talking about the 90s, we're now in 2020. 2020. So we're talking about almost over 30 years of just 30 plus years of someone just being allowed to do whatever the hell he wants um, to women and get away with it and still be able to have a successful career. All right. So we're at the U.S. Sun right now, and there's an article, and it's talking about Dr. Dre. And I picked this article because this article wanted you to know about who Nicole Young was. And it was important for you guys to know. I think it's important that we know who Nicole Young is, because Nicole Young is a woman that Dr. Dre eventually ended up leaving Michelle A. And just to remind you, he beat his first baby mother. He's allowed to go on and have this illustrious career, millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and not want to never pay child support. Does not like to pay child support. I think she said she never got child support from him. So this is the type of man that is getting these flowers, and we're holding up as somebody in our community. Great businessman. Deplorable, despicable black man representation for other black men when it comes to family and how you treat people, and just how to be as a human being. He's a horrible representation for that. So, and I want to know about Nicole, because Nicole interests me. Because if you don't know, yes, I go by Suge Avery on the YouTube and in these videos, but my real name, Jackie Nicole. So, but anyway, Nicole interests me because she's the woman that Dr. Dre got with after Michelle A. And I always find these women to be interesting because they tend to think that they can fix. They are the fixer, okay? So they think they can fix a man like this. So they get with these men. They're nothing like the other women that he used to be with. And all of a sudden, that is what the problem used to be. That's what the problem was. That I was dating all the same type of women. And I need to now, I am elevating. My taste needs to elevate, and I need to get with a different type of woman. And so what he did. From what I read here, Nicole was a lawyer and practiced law for about 3 years before marrying him. So which means that Nicole was really smart. That's what it tells me. That's exactly what it tells me. It says the pair met in 1995 and got married after just 4 months of dating. Okay, Nicole. She had that wop, because that's what makes a nigga do something stupid like that. I love it. Anyway, first known as the ex-wife of retired NBA player stifled, Nicole Young then became more well recognized as the wife of Dr. Dre. Okay, so she was already in the circles from her previous marriage. And that's why I said to you, when it comes to women like Eliza or women like Lori Harvey, the circles that you're allowed to be in is the circles that you're going to play in. There's no difference in that, okay? So she was married to Stifled for 3 years. Okay, that's maybe what I got the 3 from. So let me take that back. She was married to Stifled, her ex-husband, who used to be an NBA player. So the woman used to nice things, used to being around. Before her marriage to Dr. Dre, she worked as an attorney. The two married on May 25th, 1996. Dr. Dre, whose real name is Andre Romel Young, is a rapper, producer, and entrepreneur. He is credited in the hip-hop scene as a pioneer for the California rap sound. Yeah, most definitely. Great at music. Great. Right? Dr. Dre, 55, founded the hugely lucrative Beats Electronics brands and was once the co-owner of the famous Death Row record label. He has managed and guided huge hip-hop acts like Snoop Dogg. I don't feel like reading shit about him. I'm sorry. Because we all know that, because that's not what we're here for. We here for the mess. That is this just divorce, right? Right. So the former couple revealed they were divorcing in June 2020. Okay, so that's June. With Nicole citing irreconcilable differences as a reason behind the couple's split. This will be Nicole's second divorce, as she was formerly married to NBA player Stifled. The last time Dr. Dre and his soon-to-be ex-wife were seen together was February in 2020 at Tom Ford Fashion Show. Now, I think this is so interesting that the pandemic has happened. The last time they were seen with each other was in February. The pandemic hits in March, and then all of a sudden by June that she's ready to just walk away. There is something about having to be home with your spouse when you're not used to being home with your spouse that will, I think the fact that, and it's different. I know they're like, oh, you don't even know if he was traveling a lot, any of that. It's not even about that traveling a lot. Right now we are confined, and so confined means that even if I like going to shopping, or if I like going out to eat, or like the outlets to go out and not be around each other are no longer there. And that really will drive anybody to, as you can see, divorce. I'm just saying. That is what's driven her to divorce. Being home with this nigga. Yeah, yeah. Let me just go through this right now. The world has slowed down. I'm just telling you how this Nicole would think of it. The world has slowed down. This nigga is who this nigga is. We still up right now. Money's still good. Let me cut my losses while I can. That way, when the world starts repopping, I reemerge. Go find me a third nigga. This time, I mean, he got to be better than the last niggas, but this time he can have just as much as the last nigga, as long as he just always put his hands on people. I'm good. And she can find that. So she got a lot of life. She had a lot of time, a lot of life, and she's still beautiful. She's fine. She's going to be fine. Next thing you know, you never know. She might meet somebody next time who owns an NFL team. Who knows? But I would cut my losses too at this time. No need to live out the rest of your life with a toxic ass person and like someone like him. Dr. Dre has 6 children, 4 sons and 2 daughters by 5 different women. Let's repeat that again. Dr. Dre has 6 children, 4 sons and 2 daughters, and by 5 different women. This is a man of the night. This is the man, he belongs to the streets. Look at all them children all over the damn place. But yeah, that's basically, I mean, I just think it's important that we know that this woman is not here to play. She's not playing with him. It's being alleged. I want to find out what it's being alleged, what the assets they had to split up. Bear with me. All right, here, we're going to use this one. Yes. So, this is talent recap. Dr. Dre in... No. Dr. Dre and Nicole Young are getting a divorce. In the paperwork, Nicole cited irreconcilable differences as the reasons for ending the marriage. She is seeking spousal support, but it was revealed that the couple did not sign a prenup before getting married. The music mogul has an estimated net worth of around $800 million, and Business Insiders called him one of the richest men in hip-hop. So $800 million, okay. Whew. Dr. Dre first got his start in the music world. We don't need all of that. I'm just trying to get to what she wants. Okay, so the couple has 2 children together, a son, Truce, 23, and a daughter, Truly, 19. Since their children are adults, child support will not play a factor. Okay, so he actually has a son. Dr. Dre also has a son that committed suicide also, if I remember, or died from a drug overdose. Don't hold me, but so that must be by one of the other baby mothers then. So they're saying the couple was always posing online, all lovey-dovey. Okay, so this is where I wanted. Oh, that's so funny. I didn't read it, but it's right here. Dr. Dre also has 2 daughters, Tyra Young and LaTanya Daniel Young, and 2 sons, Marcel and Curtis, from previous relationships. His son, Andre Young Jr., died in 2018. Yeah, so yeah, he died from what I remember, an overdose or something like that. The pair were constantly posing together for social media and even celebrated their 22nd wedding anniversary in an elaborate way. They took a helicopter all the way to New York to see Hamilton on Broadway, the show that was absolutely impossible to get tickets for due to popularity. That was definitely a grand gesture. Okay, I mean, they were lovey-dovey up until the quarantine, so... Well, she felt like she did her time. The rapper also posted to commemorate their 21st anniversary to promote the Defiant Ones. Okay. All right, so he was really proud of her, and they seemed all to be in love. She was the one. Something happened. But I'm here for this woman getting everything that she wants. I'm here for it all. I believe Dr. Dre is a trash-ass person, to be honest with you. I just do. And I just believe... even just the whole story behind him supposedly ripping up the prenup, but really didn't. Like, what type of trickery? Like, come on, that just tells you who he is. And I just think, again, the Dr. Dre story is really important because, yes, We need to bring light to these narcissistic, toxic as men, and that's just that on that. So, if this is your first time to my channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Just let me know, what are your thoughts on Dr. Dre? And I more or less want to know, what are your thoughts on the fact that we're realizing like men have been allowed to be this way and still be able to flourish and still be able to move on and still be able to have a career. And whereas we see in society and we see in the industry, it's not the same for like a Kathy Lee Griffin. It's not the same for like a Chrisette Michelle. It hasn't been the same for a lot of women who take a lot, who do, even Monique, the comedian. It hasn't been the same for them, and I think we need to call foul and call it out. A lot of times that women are sometimes our biggest, sometimes our biggest. I'm sorry, women, sometimes we do it to ourselves. You get what I'm saying? We tear women down really hard when we're to the point that men don't even have to do it, but it's still misogyny. It's still patriotic. Sorry. It's still misogyny. Even if a woman do it, it's still misogyny because there's no valid or a reason why a woman should be so invested in going against another woman when we all go through the same things when it comes to men or when it comes to life in general. So why would you want to tear the ceiling? I'm sorry, tear the floor from underneath another woman. I don't know. I don't know. It's strange. It's the reason why people think other women are haters or anything. It's just strange behavior because there just should be no reason why you shouldn't see a win for her is a win for you. You get what I'm saying? And that's why it becomes that's a crab ass mentality where you can sit down like, oh, she's too much or she's doing too much, or people can sit back and look at things like, oh, Joe Budden's deal and be like, oh, he wants too much. You don't get to count that man's pockets and you don't get to give that man his value. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I use as an example because, I got some words for him. But I use as an example, but you don't get to tell somebody what their value is. You get what I'm saying? You get to mind your business and let that person go get what they're going to get for them. You know what I'm saying? Again, if this is your first time to my channel, I'm sorry. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell me your thoughts. What do you think? He flourished. He was able to move on without any type of accountability. Even that apology that he gave out in 2015, it was like to all the women. No, sir. Sir. I know there could be plenty of more because you seem like you were really, 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 really trashed. There could be plenty more. But sir, we got a couple names that you can address, and then you can throw that all to all those other women underneath. You get what I'm saying? But right now we have some names, and you need to address those names. You know what I'm saying? You need to address those names. That's what accountability looks like. It's not halfway. You get what I'm saying? It's not a 2-sentence blur, and I know that makes people feel comfortable. Oh, but you gotta move on. Well, some people can move on, but some people can't, depending on what has happened. And that's just, as we can see with Dee Barnes, she was just unable to, she was not to be touched in the industry. Y'all know how big NWA was back then. Y'all know nobody wanted to cross them. So don't sit up here and act like y'all don't know that if it was made to seem like she was trouble or she's someone that you shouldn't do business with, that people were going to listen back then. Y'all know what it was. So we're not going to do that. I'm not going to pretend like niggas with attitude. I don't want to say that. I can't say the word N-word, but so I got to find out the rules. I know I'm not really like monetizing anything like that, but I do got to find out the rules for all that. But yeah, they were NWA for a reason. They were, they were violent. They were violent. They were from the hood. They were violent. So people were scared, and there was other stories. I think if you think about it, we gotta call a spade a spade. So when you think about Ice Cube had a part. I think it was Ice Cube. Ice Cube had a part where he went up to the label, and then he break up some windows and break up an office or some shit. So we talking about violence. We talking about people who are part of violence, who inflict violence, okay? So don't act like y'all don't understand that this woman's career was hampered by the threat of violence that loomed over associating with her. Period. Like, comment, subscribe, tell me your thoughts, and y'all be, y'all stay bougie, y'all stay posh, you know what I mean? That's our thing here. And I'm out, my sugar bears.